What if everything you thought was love wasn't? What if the butterflies, the texts, the smiles, and the nights spent thinking about her were just echoes of something far shallower than love? Infatuation, desire, attention-seeking. This is the truth no one tells you. Most people spend their lives chasing a version of love that was sold to them, not one that truly serves their soul. And that's why so many feel empty, even when they're not alone. Because deep down, something feels off. Something feels incomplete. It's not about whether she says the right things or does sweet gestures. It's about something more raw, something that can't be faked. Real love has a different frequency. It doesn't confuse you. It calms you. It doesn't drain you. It builds you. And once you know how to recognize it, you'll never settle for anything less again. This isn't about romance. This is about peace. This is about a woman who becomes your anchor, not just your thrill. You need to understand that genuine love isn't loud, dramatic, or filled with constant highs and lows. That's chaos, not love. The world may tell you love is supposed to feel like a rush, like fireworks, but that's not how it works when it's real. Real love is quiet strength. It's found in the smallest things, in the way she listens, in the way she stays, in the way she shows up when no one else does. And if you don't know what to look for, you might miss the real thing while chasing the illusion. There's a reason this matters. Because if you don't understand what genuine love looks like, you'll confuse manipulation for passion. You'll mistake control for care. You'll waste your energy on people who only love the version of you that benefits them. But when you finally learn the difference, everything changes. You stop tolerating inconsistency. You stop chasing validation. And you begin choosing peace over chaos, substance over appearance, truth over fantasy. This video isn't just about identifying signs. It's about waking you up. Because when a woman genuinely loves you, it redefines everything you thought relationships were supposed to be. It heals wounds you didn't know were open. It makes you feel safe in a way that goes beyond words. And most importantly, it reminds you that you're not hard to love. You were just loving in the wrong direction. You're going to see yourself in this. You're going to see your past, your doubts, your hopes. And if you stay until the end, you'll walk away with more than understanding. You'll walk away with clarity. The kind of clarity that sets your standards higher and your soul freer. You'll know what to look for, you'll know what to keep, and most of all, you'll know what to let go of. Because you deserve to be loved for real, not conditionally, not temporarily, but completely. And once you see what real love looks like, you'll never unsee it. So stay with this. Your heart has been waiting for truth. Let's give it exactly that. You can feel it in her silence. When a woman genuinely loves you, her attention becomes sacred. She doesn't just hear you, she feels you. Her presence isn't passive. It's intentional, focused, and rare. In a world drowning in distractions, her full attention is a rare kind of devotion. She puts the phone down. She doesn't interrupt. She remembers the little things you say, not because she's trying to impress you, but because she's listening with her whole heart. And that kind of listening is a reflection of deep emotional investment. It means you're not just background noise in her life, you matter. And when someone makes you feel like you matter without demanding it from them, that's love in its purest form. Her eyes don't wander when you speak. Her energy doesn't shift when the conversation isn't exciting. She stays with you, in boredom, in tension, in silence. That's the kind of connection most people are starving for. Not someone who agrees with every word, but someone who holds space for your truth, even when it's messy or uncomfortable. This is where trust begins. Not in the grand gestures or the highlight reels, but in the everyday moments where she shows you she's present. Because presence is love's most honest language. This isn't just emotional, it's biological. The human brain is wired for connection. And when someone gives you undivided attention, your nervous system relaxes, your guard drops. You feel safe. You stop performing. And slowly, without even trying, you begin to trust. That trust is where intimacy is born, not physical intimacy, but emotional closeness. The kind of closeness that makes you feel understood without explanation. And that feeling is priceless. It's what every soul longs for beneath all the armor. But so many miss it. They look for passion, sparks, adrenaline. They overlook the quiet power of presence. They chase loud affection and ignore the quiet woman who simply pays attention. If you're not grounded, you'll miss the woman who sees you when no one else does. You'll chase the thrill and lose the peace. Because love isn't about who excites your ego, it's about who restores your soul. So ask yourself, who listens to you without judgment? Who stays when the mood shifts? who doesn't just hear your voice but reads between your silences. That's who sees you, that's who values you, and that's who loves you. Real love doesn't interrupt your pain with advice. It sits with it. Real love doesn't rush your healing. It honors your pace. When she listens with her whole heart, she's telling you, you matter enough for me to stop everything else. And when you experience that kind of listening, stay present with it. Don't take it for granted, because a woman who listens that deeply isn't trying to manipulate you. She's not calculating. She's connected. And in that connection, she's giving you a love most men spend their whole lives searching for. Don't miss it. Don't doubt it. Recognize it and rise to meet it. There's a moment when you're low, truly low, and everything around you feels heavy, distant, uncertain. And in that moment, you learn who's with you for real, because the kind of woman who genuinely loves you doesn't disappear when you fall apart. She doesn't flinch when you break. She leans in. She holds the weight with you. She sees the pain in your eyes before you speak a word, and she doesn't try to fix it or distract you from it. She feels it with you. She allows herself to carry your burden, not because she has to, but because love gives her no other choice. Your suffering becomes her concern, not as an obligation, but as a reflection of how deeply you live inside her heart. You need to understand how rare that is. Most people stay around only when it's easy, when you're laughing, winning, progressing, when you're useful. But when the light inside you dims, when the strength in your voice cracks, when life stops making sense, that's when real love is revealed. If she's still there when the mask falls off, when the pride is gone, when your confidence is shaken, that presence is sacred. It means her love isn't for your image, your status, or your momentum. It's for you. Pain has a way of exposing loyalty. It strips the relationship of convenience and reveals the foundation. And if she stays through your chaos, not with pity but with partnership, then you're not alone anymore. You're supported in the most human way possible. You're seen not as a project but as a person, worthy of care even when you're not at your best. That's a love that goes far beyond attraction. That's a soul choosing another soul, regardless of the storm. When she shares your pain, she's telling you something powerful. You don't have to face this alone. That message, even when unspoken, rewires your heart. It softens the sharp edges life has carved into you. It teaches you that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's connection. And the courage to open up becomes easier when you're with someone who doesn't run from your wounds. Every man needs to feel this kind of love at least once, not because he needs saving, but because even the strongest man deserves softness. He deserves someone who doesn't fear his brokenness. He deserves someone who doesn't turn away when his strength fades. If you've ever felt that kind of support, hold on to it. And if you haven't yet, don't settle until you do. Because once you experience a love that feels like understanding, that walks with you through darkness without demanding you hurry up and heal, you'll know it's real. Not because she says the right words, but because she chooses to stay. And sometimes staying is the loudest way a person can say, I love you. Love isn't loud. It doesn't ask for recognition. It doesn't wave a flag or demand applause. Real love is invisible in the moments most people overlook. A woman who genuinely loves you gives in ways the world will never see. She sacrifices, not for attention, but because your well-being is part of hers. She pours herself into your life, her time, her energy, her quiet efforts, and she does it without ever needing to be noticed. That's how you know it's real, because she's not doing it to be praised. She's doing it because her love doesn't know how to hold back. She changes her schedule to be there when you need her. She lets go of small comforts so you can have peace. She adjusts her life, not because you asked her to, but because your presence in her world has changed her priorities. And yet, she never brings it up. She never makes you feel indebted. Her sacrifices are silent. But make no mistake, her love is not small. It's made of 1,000 little things you might not even notice until she stops doing them. And that's what makes them powerful, because when someone gives from a place of purity, without needing anything in return, it reveals the depth of their heart. That kind of giving is rare. Most people only give when it's noticed. Most love with conditions, keeping score, measuring effort. But she doesn't count. She contributes. She doesn't give to control. She gives to connect. And the moment you realize that her world is quietly shifting to make room for you, you'll understand what devotion looks like. Not the kind that shouts, the kind that serves. The kind that builds quietly in the background of your life until one day you realize you're standing on something solid, something real, something built by love. If you don't learn to recognize these silent gifts, you'll miss the woman who's truly with you. You'll look for the show and overlook the substance. You'll chase excitement and ignore the one who's given you stability. So open your eyes to what's unseen. Notice the way she remembers your needs. Notice the things she chooses not to do so she can show up for you. Notice how her life has bent, just slightly, just enough, to make room for you to breathe easier, live fuller, and feel supported. When a woman gives without seeking validation, she's loving you on a level few understand. She's giving from depth, not desire. She's offering her presence, her patience, her quiet loyalty. And that is a gift you can't measure with words or repay with gestures. All you can do is honor it, protect it, grow with it. Because her sacrifices are seeds. And if you're wise enough to nurture what she's planting, it will grow into something unshakable, something sacred, something only love could build. You won't always see it, but you'll feel it. When a woman genuinely loves you, she protects you, even when you're not there to witness it. She guards your name, your reputation, your character, not because she's obligated, but because love defends in silence. When others speak doubt into your story, she doesn't join the noise. She becomes the shield, not with aggression, but with integrity. She knows your heart, and that knowledge becomes her armor for you. Loyalty isn't just what she shows when you're watching. It's who she is when no one's looking. There's something deeply powerful about knowing that someone speaks well of you when you're not around. It means she's chosen you not just in the light, but in the shadows. She won't entertain disrespect disguised as gossip. She won't let others reduce you to mistakes or misunderstandings. She doesn't need to argue or prove your worth. She simply stands firm in what she knows about you. That kind of unseen support builds a foundation you can stand on. It gives you peace in a world where loyalty is often conditional, where many only stay aligned with you when it's popular or convenient. You don't have to ask her to be loyal. She just is. Not because you've earned perfection in her eyes, but because love allows her to see you clearly, flaws and all, and still choose to stand beside you. And when people challenge that, she doesn't flinch. She doesn't distance herself to save face. She holds the line. Her loyalty isn't blind. It's rooted in truth, in what she's seen, what she knows, and what she believes about who you are beneath the noise. This isn't about defending your ego. It's about honoring your humanity. When someone loves you deeply, they don't let the world distort your reflection. They speak life where others would tear down. They protect your image, not to make you look good, but to stay true to what love knows. That kind of unseen loyalty is a rare and sacred act. It's a quiet vow. I've seen who you are, and I will not allow others to forget it, even when you're not around to explain yourself. And if you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever had your name twisted by someone you trusted, then you know how healing it is to finally find someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Someone whose loyalty isn't performative but instinctual. Someone who doesn't need credit for standing by you, because for her, that's just what love does. It doesn't waver. It doesn't doubt. It doesn't disappear when your back is turned. If you found that kind of loyalty, honor it, nurture it, protect it in return. Because when a woman stands for you in rooms you've never entered, she's loving you at a depth that words can't reach. That's the kind of love that changes a man, not by force, but by faith. And that kind of love is worth everything. Love that never challenges you is not love. It's comfort disguised as connection. A woman who genuinely loves you doesn't just support who you are. She sees who you could become and refuses to let you shrink into a smaller version of yourself. She holds a mirror to your potential, not to criticize you, but to remind you of your power. She won't applaud your excuses. She won't feed your self-doubt. Instead, she'll challenge you to rise, because her love isn't passive. It's active. It's a force that moves you towards strength, discipline, purpose, and truth. She sees through your laziness, not with contempt, but with belief. She knows you're capable of more, and because she loves you, she won't settle for watching you live beneath your calling. When you start slipping, she speaks up. When you start playing small, she calls it out, not to hurt your pride, but to protect your greatness. Her challenge is rooted in care. It's not criticism, it's conviction. She doesn't shame you for where you are. She sees what's ahead, and she refuses to let you abandon yourself. You may feel uncomfortable when she challenges you. You may feel exposed, but understand this. Her discomfort with your stagnation is a form of loyalty. She's not choosing the easier path. She's choosing the real one. Because love isn't just staying beside you. It's walking ahead and pulling you forward when you forget your strength. It's believing in your future more than you believe in your past. And if she didn't care, she wouldn't say a word. But because she loves you, she won't stay silent when she sees you falling short of who you were born to be. That kind of love is rare. Many will praise your flaws just to stay close. They'll flatter your weaknesses to keep the peace. But a woman who truly loves you will disturb your comfort if it means saving your soul. She'll push you, not away from her, but toward the man you're capable of becoming. And yes, it may feel like pressure, but it's pressure with purpose. It's love saying, I won't let you abandon your potential. The right woman doesn't compete with your mission. She sharpens it. She doesn't slow you down. She fuels your growth. And when you find someone who loves you enough to hold you accountable, don't reject that. Lean into it. Grow from it, because that's not control. It's care. It's not criticism. It's courage. And it takes courage to love someone enough to tell them the truth, especially when it's uncomfortable. If she pushes you to be better, to rise, to evolve, it's because she sees the king in you. Even when you forget, even when you resist, she sees it. And her love won't allow you to hide from it. That is the kind of woman who changes your life. Not by doing it for you, but by reminding you you're built for more. And because she loves you, she'll never stop reminding you. There will be moments in life when everything you built starts to fall apart. When your strength runs out, when your plans collapse, when your confidence shatters. And in those moments, you'll see who truly stands with you, not just beside your success, but inside your struggle. A woman who genuinely loves you doesn't need you to be perfect. She doesn't abandon you when you're broken. She stays, not because it's easy, but because love that's real doesn't flinch in the face of pain. It leans in, it shows up, it remains. She won't try to fix everything, and she won't pretend to have all the answers. But she'll be there. When your words are few and your world is heavy, she won't run. She won't make you feel like a burden. Her presence alone will remind you that you're not too much, not too far gone, not too flawed to be held through your lowest point. That's when love reveals its true form. Not in the celebration of your victories, but in the quiet, steady loyalty during your defeats. She doesn't need you to wear a mask. She doesn't fall in love with your highlight reel. She accepts the raw, unfiltered, unpolished version of you. The one you hide from the world. The one even you struggle to face sometimes. She doesn't love you in spite of your brokenness. She loves you through it. And that kind of love does something powerful. It starts to heal what life has tried to harden. It whispers to the deepest part of you that you are not defined by your failures, that being loved in your worst moments doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. So many men carry silent battles, afraid to appear vulnerable, afraid to lose respect by showing pain. But love that's rooted in truth doesn't see vulnerability as weakness. It sees it as access. When you allow someone to witness your pain without armor and they choose to stay, that's when trust becomes unshakable. Because now you know they're not just there for what you give. They're there for who you are, even when you have nothing left to offer. And in that place of honesty, something shifts. You begin to believe again. You start to rebuild. Not just because of her strength, but because her love gives you permission to rediscover your own. She doesn't carry you through life. She reminds you how to stand when you've forgotten how. Her presence doesn't solve every problem, but it gives you the strength to face them. If you've ever felt that, if someone has stayed when life went dark, honor that. Because love that shows up in pain is the kind of love that transforms you. It doesn't just walk with you. It lifts you, it restores you, it anchors you in something deeper than emotion, something unbreakable. And when you have that, you don't just survive, you rise. There's a love that sees beneath the surface. A love that doesn't get distracted by your performance, your status, or your past. A woman who genuinely loves you doesn't fall for the version of you that the world sees. She connects with the man you are when no one's looking. She sees your insecurities, your flaws, your doubts, and she doesn't flinch. She stays, not because she's blind to your imperfections, but because her love isn't rooted in illusion. It's rooted in truth. And truth doesn't walk away when things get real. It stands still, unwavering, because it knows the value of what it's holding. You've been taught to hide your cracks, to keep your struggles behind a wall, to only show strength. But when a woman sees the full picture and still chooses you, something inside begins to shift. You stop trying to earn love. You stop pretending. You breathe deeper because you realize she's not in love with who you're trying to be. She's in love with who you are. Not the mask, not the highlight reel, but the man underneath it all. And that kind of love is disarming. It dismantles every lie you believed about being unworthy. She sees your silence and doesn't mistake it for distance. She feels your frustration and doesn't confuse it with rejection. She reads your energy before your words. She doesn't need perfection from you. She just needs presence, authenticity, honesty. That's how she connects, not through performance, but through vulnerability. Because when love is real, it doesn't need you to impress. It needs you to be available, fully, emotionally, mentally. She wants the version of you that most people never get to meet. And if she stays after seeing that version, if she stays when you show the parts you were once ashamed of, that is not weakness on her part. That is strength. That is a heart that has learned how to love without conditions. Her presence becomes a mirror not of your flaws, but of your worth. You begin to see yourself through her eyes. And what you see is not failure. It's possibility. It's resilience. It's enough. There is no greater freedom than being fully seen and still fully accepted. And no greater pain than giving the world your best while hiding your truest self. But the right woman, she breaks that pattern. Not by demanding more from you, but by making you feel safe enough to give it. Her love doesn't chase the ideal version of you. Her love invites the real you to show up. And when you do, she doesn't run. She embraces. She chooses you, not despite your mess, but because of your courage to reveal it. That's how you know it's love. Not by how much she praises your strengths, but by how she holds space for your truth. That kind of love heals. It liberates. It transforms. And if you feel it, don't doubt it. Lean into it. Because that kind of acceptance doesn't just change your relationship, it changes you. You'll know she loves you when your joy becomes her joy, when your smile lights up something inside her, when your victories, no matter how small, feel like hers too. A woman who genuinely loves you doesn't compete with your success. She celebrates it. She doesn't feel threatened by your growth. She supports it. There's no jealousy, no power struggle, no silent resentment. Just pure, unfiltered pride. She wants to see you win, not because it benefits her, but because she believes in your light. And when that light shines, her heart expands. That's what real love does. It multiplies the good. It amplifies your highs. It creates a space where joy can thrive without fear. She doesn't just listen to your dreams, she believes in them. She holds them with the same care and energy you do. She reminds you of them when you forget. And when you make progress, even if it's quiet or unnoticed by others, she notices. She celebrates. She doesn't need a stage to honor your growth. Her love sees the details, the efforts no one else applauds, the work you do in silence. She sees it. She values it. And her joy reflects it. When someone loves you deeply, your happiness isn't separate from theirs. They don't watch your rise with silent doubt. They rise with you. They feel your joy as if it's their own heartbeat. They don't get insecure when you evolve. They feel proud because your elevation doesn't diminish them. It inspires them. And that's the sign of a secure, mature, wholehearted love. One that isn't afraid of your greatness. One that doesn't shrink when you shine. If she celebrates you, not just for what you do, but for who you are, understand how rare that is. Most people love for what they can gain, but when her happiness genuinely expands because of your wins, you're experiencing something sacred. You're experiencing connection without condition, love without ego, support without strings. This kind of emotional investment builds something powerful. It makes you want to rise even higher, not to impress her, but to honor the faith she's placed in you. Because when someone is truly happy for you, it heals parts of you that have lived in silence. It reminds you that your joy is not too much, not something to hide, not something to downplay to make others comfortable. It's something to embrace, to share, to grow within. And if you've ever had to dim your light to protect someone else's insecurity, you know how damaging that can be. But the right woman, she'll never ask you to shrink. She'll water your growth. She'll smile when you succeed. She'll lift you when you're rising, not hold you back in fear. Because love doesn't compete. Love doesn't compare. Love expands. When her joy reflects yours, you'll feel it in her presence, in her words, in her energy. And that kind of love creates a life where you're not just surviving, you're thriving together. When a woman truly loves you, she respects what makes you a man. Not in theory, not in words, but in action. She doesn't try to reshape you into something softer, smaller, or more convenient. She understands that masculinity isn't a threat, it's a strength. And instead of resisting it, she honors it. She gives you the space to lead, the room to decide, the trust to act. Not because you demand it, but because her love recognizes your essence. She doesn't try to control the way you move. She supports it. She doesn't compete with your direction. She aligns with it. That's not submission. That's trust. That's the kind of respect that builds kingdoms, not cages. Every man needs to feel respected by the one he loves. Not just loved, but trusted. Not just heard, but valued. Respect is oxygen for the masculine heart. Without it, love suffocates. It begins to feel conditional, performative, transactional. But when she respects you deeply, it sets you free. It unlocks a version of you that doesn't need to defend, prove, or dominate. Because you already feel seen, already feel affirmed. And in that space, your confidence grows quietly. Your presence deepens. Your clarity sharpens. That's what her respect gives you. Freedom to lead with love, not fear. She won't emasculate you to feel powerful. She won't question your judgment just to maintain control. She won't undermine your role in the relationship. She knows how to hold power without diminishing yours. She's not intimidated by your strengths. She's inspired by it. Because her love isn't rooted in dominance or submission. It's rooted in partnership, in balance, in mutual recognition of each other's value. And in that recognition, something incredible happens. You begin to thrive in your masculine frame while she rests deeper into her feminine energy. Not because of rigid roles, but because of mutual understanding. This balance isn't always spoken. It's felt. In the way she listens without interrupting. In the way she trusts your direction. In the way she supports your purpose without needing to take the spotlight. She knows you don't have it all figured out, but she respects your ability to grow. She doesn't need perfection. She needs intention. And when she sees that in you, her respect becomes unwavering, and you'll feel the difference. In a world where many are quick to question, criticize, or control, her respect will feel like peace, like solid ground beneath your feet. It will calm your chaos, sharpen your decisions, and remind you that you are enough, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are. And in return, something inside you will rise, not from pride, but from purpose. A woman's love can nurture, but her respect, her genuine respect, is what awakens a man's highest potential. It speaks to the warrior in him, the protector, the builder, the leader. And when that kind of man feels that kind of respect, he doesn't just stay. He devotes. He elevates. He becomes everything he was born to be. You can measure the depth of her love not just by what she gives, but by what she's willing to build with you. A woman who genuinely loves you doesn't just want to be near your life. She wants to help shape it. She isn't waiting for you to finish becoming the man she can love. She's willing to stand beside you as you grow, as you stumble, as you climb. She doesn't need everything to be perfect before she commits her heart. Her love isn't transactional. It's foundational. She's not here for what's already built. She's here for the process, for the work, for the vision. And she's willing to invest in it with her time, her energy, her loyalty, and her presence. That kind of love doesn't come with ultimatums. It comes with belief. She believes in the future you're building, even before it's fully clear. She aligns herself with your mission, not blindly, but boldly. She asks questions, not to test you, but to understand how to support you. She doesn't wait for security to show up. She becomes part of creating it. Because to her, love isn't just a feeling, it's a partnership, a commitment to becoming more together than either of you could be alone. She doesn't fold when pressure hits. She doesn't panic when things move slowly. She doesn't retreat when obstacles appear. Instead, she adapts. She learns. She pushes through, not just for herself, but for both of you. She sees challenges as opportunities to grow stronger, not reasons to walk away. And her consistency becomes your stability. Her trust becomes your anchor. Her willingness to keep building, even on the hard days, shows you that her love is not a phase. It's a choice. A steady, unwavering choice. When a woman loves you at this level, she doesn't need constant reassurance because she draws strength from the foundation you're building together. She doesn't chase fleeting emotions. She creates lasting structure. She helps you focus. She holds you accountable. She nurtures the ground beneath your feet while you reach higher. Not because she's trying to control the journey, but because she wants to see both of you rise from solid ground. And this is what many overlook. They chase fireworks and forget about foundation. But love that lasts isn't just about intensity. It's about investment. It's about someone choosing every single day to show up and contribute to something bigger than themselves. If she's helping you build your vision, your peace, your discipline, your life, don't take it lightly. because that means she's not just in love with the idea of being with you, she's in love with what you're creating together. And that's the kind of woman you don't find twice. Protect that, reciprocate that, rise for that, because if she's helping you build your future, she's already part of it. And when love becomes a shared construction, not just a shared emotion, it creates a bond that time can't shake. That's when love becomes legacy. When a woman genuinely loves you, her presence becomes your peace. Not because life gets easier, but because with her, you don't have to carry it all alone. The world may demand, pressure, and exhaust you, but when you come home to her, you feel the weight lift. Not because she solves every problem, but because she becomes the place where your heart can rest. Her energy calms your storms. Her words reset your mind. Her presence reminds you that even when everything feels chaotic, you are not alone. You are supported. You are understood. You are held without needing to explain yourself. She doesn't need to fill the silence. She becomes the silence that heals you. She doesn't demand your attention when you're drained. She reads the space, respects your battles, and sits with you in them. She becomes your refuge, not by fixing everything, but by making you feel safe in your own skin. And that is a love most men never experience. A love that doesn't compete with your purpose, but complements your path. A love that doesn't require you to always be strong, because it understands that strength sometimes needs stillness. When a woman truly loves you, her peace begins to shape you. It softens your rough edges. It quiets your fears. It reminds you of who you are when the world tries to make you forget. Her presence is not loud, but it's powerful. She doesn't try to impress you. She doesn't need to. Her calm becomes your clarity. Her grace becomes your grounding. And without forcing change, she inspires it. Because peace always produces growth. And this is how you know her love is different. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't pressure you. It doesn't make you feel like you're falling short. It accepts you where you are, but believes in where you're going. And every time you're around her, you feel stronger. Not because she's boosting your ego, but because her love gives you room to breathe. In her presence, your soul exhales. Your mind relaxes. Your spirit feels at home. This kind of peace is not passive, it's intentional. It's built through emotional maturity, empathy, patience, and trust. She chooses not to react to every mood, not to take every silence personally, not to escalate tension when you're already battling enough. She chooses peace, not just for herself, but for both of you. And her choice creates an atmosphere that allows the relationship to grow from a place of calm strength, not emotional chaos. If you find this in someone, recognize its rarity. Because the world is full of noise, but true peace is rare. And when a woman's love becomes your quiet place, your reset, your refuge, that is a gift no status, no money, no ambition can replace. Protect it, prioritize it, reflect it. Because when love feels like peace, it doesn't just add to your life, it heals it. And from that healing, everything changes, not just in you, but in the life you're building together. When a woman genuinely loves you, she doesn't just accept your presence. She chooses your soul. She doesn't fall for who you pretend to be in public. She doesn't get attached to the image, the mask, or the surface. Her love is deeper than attraction, louder than praise, and more faithful than fleeting emotions. She connects with what's real, with the parts of you that don't seek the spotlight, with the depth you carry when no one is watching. And in a world full of performance, that kind of connection is rare. It's sacred. Because she's not in love with the version of you that impresses others. She's in love with the version of you that simply exists, and that's enough for her. She notices what you think is invisible, the small changes in your voice, the way you retreat when you're overwhelmed, the fire behind your ambition, and the fatigue behind your silence. She doesn't need you to explain yourself every time, because she feels your shifts. Her love is tuned in, emotionally present, fully aware. And when someone loves you at that level, they don't wait until you're falling apart to check on you. They sense it, they ask, they care. Not to fix you, but to walk with you through it. Love like that doesn't come from words. It's not built on empty affirmations or grand declarations. It's built in the pauses, in the quiet understanding, in the simple act of being there without needing to be asked. When she truly loves you, she doesn't need to be convinced of your worth. She sees it in your flaws, she feels it in your presence, and she reminds you of it, not with loud praise, but with steady loyalty. That kind of love makes you braver, because it doesn't demand a performance. It invites your truth. It says, "You're safe here." And in that safety, you begin to soften. Not to become weak, but to become real, to release the pressure of pretending, to embrace your humanity. And that space, where you are loved for your soul, not your status, is where transformation begins. A woman who chooses your soul over your image is not ordinary. She sees beyond the noise. She honors your depth. She holds your silence with grace. And that's not just emotional maturity, it's spiritual alignment. It's two lives meeting beneath the surface, in the quiet center of truth, where ego dissolves and real love lives. If you have that, protect it with everything, not with fear, but with reverence. Because when love becomes that clear, that still, that honest, it no longer feels like something you're trying to earn. It feels like something that's always been meant for you, a mirror to your soul, a reminder that even in your rawest, realest form, you are enough. And when someone loves you at that level, you don't just feel seen. You feel understood. You feel home. When a woman genuinely loves you, she doesn't just commit to your highs, she commits to your process. She understands that growth is messy, that healing takes time, that becoming the man you're meant to be doesn't happen all at once. She doesn't get frustrated with your pace. She doesn't withdraw when things feel uncertain. She anchors herself in patience because she sees who you're becoming even when you're stuck in who you were. And while others may lose interest when progress is slow, she chooses to stay, not because it's easy, but because it's real. Her love doesn't need perfection. It needs honesty. She would rather walk with a man who's trying than sit beside one who's pretending. She values your effort more than your polish. She pays attention to the direction you're facing, not just how fast you're moving. And when you fall, when you get discouraged, when you question yourself, she reminds you of how far you've come. Not to pressure you, but to remind you that you're not failing, you're evolving. Her presence gives you permission to grow without shame, without judgment, without fear of being misunderstood. Most people want the final product. She's willing to be there during construction. She embraces the tension between who you are and who you're becoming. She understands that transformation doesn't come in straight lines. It comes with setbacks, confusion, doubt, but she doesn't flinch. She doesn't fold. Because her love is rooted in truth, not appearances. She knows that greatness is not born in comfort. It's forged in pressure, and she's willing to stand beside you as you walk through it. You'll know it's real when she doesn't just support your goals, she supports your growth. She doesn't just admire your strength, she respects your effort. She isn't chasing the finished version of you, she's present for the work in progress. That's love. Not romanticizing a fantasy, but accepting the reality. Being there for the unglamorous parts, the restless nights, the uncertain steps, the slow rebuilds. Because love isn't just a feeling, it's a decision. A decision to believe in someone even when the results aren't immediate. If you're with someone like that, don't overlook her. Don't take her patience as passivity. Don't confuse her quiet support for weakness. Her love is powerful because it doesn't quit. It doesn't chase perfection. It honors progress. And that kind of love doesn't just accompany success. It creates it. It holds space for becoming. It nurtures the process. It protects the potential. When someone sees your effort, trusts your journey, and stands by your side through every uncomfortable step, you begin to transform. Not just because you want to succeed, but because you don't want to let that kind of love down. Not out of pressure, but out of gratitude. Because when love meets you in your process and still says, "I'm here," it plants something deeper than motivation. It plants devotion. And from that place, everything starts to shift. There's a power in consistency that no words can replace. When a woman truly loves you, she doesn't show it in grand moments alone. She shows it in the quiet repetition of presence. She shows up, day after day, not because she has to, but because her heart is aligned with you. Real love doesn't flicker with emotion. It stays lit when emotions shift. It remains steady when circumstances change. Her loyalty isn't based on how easy things are. It's based on who you are to her. When she loves you, she commits to your presence even when life gets uncertain, inconvenient, or imperfect. And in that consistency, your soul finds something it rarely experiences: stability. She doesn't threaten to leave when you're misunderstood. She doesn't withdraw when you're distant. She doesn't waver when life gets hard. Her love is a rhythm, not an impulse. You feel it in the way she listens, the way she checks in, the way she remembers what matters to you. You feel it in the messages she sends without being prompted, in the time she gives without needing attention, in the way she's still there over and over again. It's not about loud declarations. It's about the invisible pattern of loyalty that slowly builds a foundation you can trust with your entire heart. That trust doesn't happen overnight. It's formed through moments you almost forgot to notice. The way she never stops choosing you. The way she keeps investing even when you're distracted, tired, or disconnected. She knows that love is not just staying when it feels good, it's staying when it requires effort. It's returning, showing up, continuing to care, even when the world tries to pull you apart. She doesn't clock out when things don't go her way. She leans in. Because her love is rooted in something deeper than mood. It's rooted in meaning. And in a world full of temporary connections and inconsistent intentions, her reliability becomes rare. It becomes healing. Because you've likely felt what it's like to be abandoned in the middle of becoming. You've probably experienced people who left when they got bored, people who praised your highs but vanished at your lows. But she's different. She doesn't need the high to stay committed. She builds with you in the silence. She stands with you in the in-between. She doesn't just love the man you are. She's committed to the man you're building day by day. That kind of love creates a force field around your future. It protects what matters. It shields your bond from doubt. It strengthens you from within. And if you ever question where you stand with her, you'll find the answer not in what she says once, but in what she proves repeatedly, through presence, through patience, through patterns that speak louder than promises. When love becomes consistency, it transforms your foundation. You stop bracing for loss. You stop fearing failure. You start believing again, not just in her, but in yourself. Because when someone keeps choosing you, again and again, you finally feel safe to become everything you were always meant to be. Love that lasts is not loud, it's intentional. A woman who truly loves you doesn't need to constantly declare it, because her actions are already doing the speaking. You see it in the way she chooses to understand you, not just react to you. In the way she listens, not just to your words, but to your silence. Her love is grounded in awareness. She watches how you carry your stress, how you handle your dreams, how you navigate your fears. And without judgment, without pressure, she adjusts. Not to lose herself, but to meet you where you are and lift what you often carry alone. She's not watching your every move to criticize it. She's watching to understand how to love you better. Her attention isn't controlling, it's caring. She pays attention because she values you. She learns your patterns, not to manipulate them, but to support them. She figures out how you think, how you recover, how you lead, and instead of standing in your way, she aligns with your rhythm. Not to follow blindly, but to create unity. She chooses connection over conflict, clarity over confusion, peace over pride. Because her love isn't about being right, it's about being with you. When you feel unseen by the world, she sees you more. When you're misunderstood by others, she understands deeper. When you question yourself, she reminds you of your strength, not by yelling it at you, but by walking with you until you remember it for yourself. Her love is patient enough to wait, strong enough to hold space, and wise enough to speak only when needed. She's not reacting to every low moment. She's responding to the truth underneath it. And that's where her love hits different, not in what she demands, but in what she gives without needing attention for it. She doesn't need grand gestures to prove anything. Her loyalty is quiet, but it's unwavering. Her care is subtle, but it's real. And in a world obsessed with loud affection and public displays, her love feels like shelter, like exhaling in a space that asks for nothing but your presence. And in that shelter, you grow. You heal. You remember that real love doesn't shout, it shows up, over and over, with grace, with patience, with depth. Her intuition isn't invasive, it's protective. She senses when you need space, when you need support, when you need silence. She doesn't pressure you to talk when your mind is heavy. She gives you room. And that space is never cold. It's covered in care. Because she knows love isn't always about doing. Sometimes it's about being there, being still, being supportive, even in the unseen. That's what makes her different. She's not trying to change you. She's choosing to understand you. And that choice, that level of presence, awareness, and emotional maturity, is what makes her love not just rare, but transformational. It doesn't just accompany your journey, it elevates it. It builds a bond so real, so grounded, that it becomes the place where your spirit finds rest and your purpose finds power. When a woman genuinely loves you, her loyalty is not conditional. It is rooted in who you are, not what you offer. She is not waiting for the perfect version of you to appear before she gives you her heart. She chooses you now. as you are, with your flaws, with your past, with your evolving nature. Her loyalty isn't a transaction. It's a reflection of her values, her strength, and her deep emotional clarity. She doesn't see love as a convenience. She sees it as a commitment. And because of that, she stays consistent even when life becomes inconsistent. Her loyalty does not bend with moods, does not shift with circumstances, and does not disappear when you're not at your best. She doesn't check out when things get uncomfortable. She doesn't retreat when you hit a rough season. She stands, firm, present, solid, because her love is not built on what's easy, it's built on what's real. And real love doesn't flinch under pressure. It focuses, it adapts, it fights for what matters. She's not loyal out of dependency. She's loyal because her soul resonates with yours. And that resonance creates a loyalty that doesn't need to be begged for, forced, or maintained through fear. It's natural, it's powerful, it's quiet, but it's unmistakable. Her loyalty isn't loud, but it is proven. You see it in how she defends your name when you're not in the room, in how she protects your peace when others try to disturb it, in how she refuses to entertain doubts planted by outsiders. She guards what you both are building, not out of possessiveness, but out of reverence. Because to her, this bond is not disposable, it's sacred, and sacred things are not handled with carelessness. They are protected with intentionality, with conviction, with honor. When a woman is truly loyal to you, it frees something deep within. You stop operating from survival. You stop wondering if she'll leave the moment things aren't perfect. You start to open, to trust, to give without hesitation. Her stability builds your strength. Her unwavering presence becomes a mirror to your own integrity. Because loyalty is more than just staying. It's choosing again and again, even when no one's watching, even when no one would blame her for giving up, even when it would be easier to disconnect. She stays not because she has to, but because her soul made the decision before her mind ever had to question it. And that loyalty, when returned with the same depth, becomes unstoppable. It becomes a shield against the world's chaos. It becomes a force field around your relationship. You stop worrying about betrayal and start focusing on building. You stop looking over your shoulder and start walking forward together. Because when a woman loves you with loyal devotion, not based on perfection but based on truth, you realize that love doesn't just survive difficulty, it thrives in it. And with that kind of loyalty, you don't just feel supported. You feel chosen every single day.